Now, please rise for the singing of the national anthem. As we sing, I invite you to reflect on the members of the Butler community who have and will serve their country in the armed services. Once again, our talented Butler University Chorale will perform the anthem, Things That Never Die, with music by Lee Dengler, text by Nixon Waterman, which has been drawn from the work of Charles Dickens. The words are on page 1 of your program. Please welcome to the podium Dr. Perkins and the Butler University Chorale once again. Our thanks to the talented musicians and their director, Dr. Perkins. It is now my pleasure to introduce Butler University's 21st president, James Danko. Inspired by President Danko's spirit of innovation, the university community is pursuing Butler 2020, a bold strategic plan to move Butler toward national recognition as a thought leader in transformative, student-centered higher education. President Danko's leadership approach is based on stewardship, collaboration, and creativity. In 2012, he established the Butler Innovation Fund, a source of seed money that allows the university to invest in visionary approaches to teaching, research, and service. President Danko has overseen a number of campus improvements, including the renovation of Hinkle Fieldhouse, Calusa Memorial Hall, the beautification of Sunset Avenue, and the upcoming renovation and construction of science facilities and a new 600-bed student housing facility. President Danko envisions Butler University that stands out among its peers, a university that provides exceptional learning experiences and prepares students to make a meaningful impact in the world. Please welcome President James Danko.
Thank you, Chairman Burks. Good afternoon, and congratulations to our Butler graduates. Today, we celebrate a tremendous milestone in your lives. We are very proud of your academic and personal achievements, and we are grateful for the unique and positive impact that each of you has had on Butler University. We are also grateful, as I know you are, to your parents, family members, and friends. Their support and encouragement have helped you reach this milestone. Let's take a moment to thank them with a round of applause for their love, support, and sacrifice that has led to this wonderful occasion. The Butler Way can be described as a special manner in which we pursue excellence in our own areas of talent for the greater good of our communities and society at large. Throughout your academic journey, you have exemplified the Butler Way. It is my hope that as you embrace the next chapter of your lives, you will continue to allow the Butler Way to inspire you. I encourage you to remember those people who have given you a helping hand and pulled you forward. Please don't forget to give those behind you the same helping hand. Continue to serve your family, your friends, and your communities as you have done here at Butler. While today's ceremony is indeed a happy one, we here at Butler are sad to see you leave, and I know that many of you likewise are sad to be leaving. I hope that you will view today's celebration not as an end, but as the beginning of a lifelong relationship with Butler University. You'll always have a home here at Butler, and we look forward to welcoming you back to our campus often. At this time, it is my distinct honor to confer honorary degrees upon Mrs. Betty Kessler and Mr. Javon Gilliam. It's my pleasure to welcome to the podium Mrs. Tina Burks to introduce Mrs. Betty Kessler, an honorary degree recipient.
It is my honor to introduce Mrs. Betty Kessler. Mrs. Kessler and I come from the same hometown, Morocco, Indiana. She was one of my fourth grade teachers, and she taught all three of my brothers, too. I'll bet many of you don't know where Morocco is. Well, if you're looking for a small, quiet town in northwestern Indiana with world-class amenities nearby, then you may have found Morocco. The population is barely over 1,000 and is mostly a farming community near a large fish and wildlife area. I grew up on a pretty big farm in Morocco, helping the family with over 100 head of dairy cows, some pigs, and lots of chickens. We also grew soybeans, corn, wheat, and alfalfa. You know, hay for the cows. It was the way of life for many in this community. Sure, I would make it to the downtown area on occasion, which has a few stop signs and a blinking yellow light. It has a grocery store, a gas station, a few diners, a tavern, and an attorney. You know, all those essential needs. Smack dab in town is Morocco Elementary School. Mrs. Kessler taught at Morocco Elementary for more than 30 years. Amazing, isn't it? I could still visualize where her classroom was. We had to go up one flight of stairs, and her classroom was directly in the corner to the left. She would stand outside of her classroom and welcome her students into class, many times putting her arm around them and patting them on the shoulder while giving them a great big smile. I also remember her wearing pretty dresses and these really cool eyeglasses. She was my favorite teacher, and I can guarantee you that all her students would say the same thing. She taught every subject from math to history, but one particular subject comes to mind is her teaching us to see and experience other parts of the world. For example, Mrs. Kessler taught us about China. We all played a part in making a huge mural depicting things in that country, and we got to sample the different foods that as she explained each dish to us. But my fondest memory of Mrs. Kessler is that of a Christmas gift. For some odd reason, she chose my name out of the Christmas grab bag, and she gave me a beautiful world globe. Now, while most fourth graders wouldn't ask Santa for a globe, that gift made me feel so special, because you know why? I got a gift from my teacher. So, as you can see, it's just like her to pick a teaching tool to give her student a world outlook. In our small rural town, this amazing teacher gave me the world, and she has continued to go above and beyond for all of her students in Morocco and the community in Morocco, Indiana. Here is a short video in which Mrs. Kessler and her niece, former faculty member Barb Greenberg, tell you the story of this honorary degree recipient.
Elizabeth Betty Hagen Kessler was born on a farm in Morocco, Indiana in 1917. Her father was a township trustee who supported local school improvements, possibly inspiring his daughter's dreams to teach. Betty was attracted to Butler's Teachers College because of its ties to educational pioneer Eliza Blaker. In 1935, Betty entered Butler's 2-year certificate program for elementary teachers.
So I was scared to death. Never been to Indianapolis, let alone to Butler, so just my folks brought me down and turned me loose.
Betty arrived a week after the semester started, so education faculty helped her catch up.
The teacher who taught literature, Miss Patterson, met me at the door, put her arm around me, and introduced me to the class, talked a little bit, and then handed me a list of 4 books I had to read by the weekend. And Miss Colbert took me in on a one-to-one basis. Classes were full, and she got me 2 hours credit by going to her office every day at 4 o'clock and having just visiting with her. And she was wonderful.
Miss Colbert also advised Betty on a student teacher's proper attire.
She saw me on the streetcar without a hat. I got called into her office to be told that you are not to be seen downtown in Indianapolis without a hat. Every lady wore a hat. Well, I didn't have a hat, so I had to go buy a hat.
Betty paid for her room and board by working in Butler's cafeteria, where she enjoyed serving a VIP customer.
I served Tony Hickle many times. Everybody loved Tony Hickle. I had a wonderful time at Butler, and so many people were so good. They acted like they wanted you. They wanted you to stay and be a part of Butler.
Betty received her certificate and teaching license in 1937. The next year, she married her high school sweetheart, Howard Kessler, and entered her 2nd year of teaching at Morocco Elementary School.
I came into teaching at a time when they were still spanking kids to make them behave. But I didn't believe in that. My first 4 years were a struggle because they had so many kids in one of them. I had 36 kids to start with and one set of readers. So you didn't have any equipment. So you just made do with what you had. I always wanted it to be interesting, not something you didn't want to go to or what you didn't want to do, but something that made them want to come to school.
After retiring from teaching, Betty opened the Lunchbox restaurant. She operated the Lunchbox until she was age 86, when ill health forced her to sell it. 1 year later, she opened a tea room and art center, where area residents socialized and showed off their talents. Betty also founded Morocco Projects Unlimited. This citizens group has led numerous community improvements, including creation of a park named in her honor. Several people in Betty's family have become educators, including her niece Barb Greenberg, who taught in Butler's College of Education for 43 years. Barb, her daughters, and a granddaughter all earned Butler education degrees.
My Aunt Betty Kessler was the first in our family to go to Butler. She led the way in being in our career choice, but she led the way in our life, how we think, what we care about. When I look at what has happened with Aunt Betty, it is about the legacy. I cannot think of any event in your life that thrills me more than Aunt Betty getting this degree, because she is so deserving.
I always dreamt about being a graduate of Butler. Always wanted to be, but never thought I would ever be. Never thought I'd live that long. My advice to all Butler students is enjoy every minute you've got there, because it won't be forever.
On the approval of the Butler University Board of Trustees, and by the authority vested in me, I confer upon you, Betty Kessler, the degree of Doctor of Education honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto.
This is unbelievable. I just have to thank President Danko and the Butler Board of Trustees, and a special thank to Mrs. Tina Burks for her kind words, and a special thanks to Ina Shelley, Dean of the School of Education, for your interest in an old lady's stories from 1935. I am also blessed to have my name, my many friends, and my family here to share with me this extraordinary moment in my life. I have been striving, life is striving and never arriving, but I think I've arrived.
Congratulations to our newest honorary degree recipient. We continue with the presentation of an honorary degree to Mr. Javon Gilliam, Principal Timpanist for the National Symphony Orchestra. Please welcome to the stage Professor John Crabiel, Artist in Residence and Professor of Music, to introduce Mr. Gilliam.
Thank you, President Danko. It is most certainly my honor and privilege to introduce to you Javon Gilliam. I know I speak for many members of the Butler community when I say that we are delighted to have Javon back on campus today to celebrate a truly unique and remarkable person and to recognize him for his life accomplishments up to this point. He is very deserving of this great recognition. Today, Javon is the principal timpanist for the National Symphony Orchestra in Washington, D.C., one of the top-tier orchestras in the country, a position he won by unanimous decision in 2009 at the age of 29. And just in case you don't know, timpani are the big kettle drums in the back of the orchestra, the loudest. Prior to his National Symphony appointment, he was the principal timpanist of the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra for 7 years. He has also performed with the Cleveland Orchestra, San Francisco Symphony, Detroit Symphony, Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra, and the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra. He currently also serves as Director of Percussion Studies and Artist in Residence at the University of Maryland. And as an educator, Javon has taught clinics at universities and institutions across Canada and the United States. Javon grew up in Gary, Indiana, and entered Butler as a freshman in 1997 as a piano performance major on a full-ride music scholarship. He earned a bachelor's degree in arts administration in 2001. So, how, and maybe more importantly why, did this obviously very talented young piano major at Butler in 1998 decide to switch his music instrument to timpani in the beginning of the sophomore year of college? Well, that's kind of my fault. And it is something that I gratefully and humbly accept as divine intervention. You see, I began teaching at Butler as an adjunct instructor of percussion in the fall of 1998, Javon's sophomore year. And in life, I think God sometimes, or always, hands things to you when you least expect it. And at least with me, these interventions seem to always happen when you're not really doing anything extraordinary. It's just when you're doing your job. This happened the first day I met Javon. You know, I was figuring out the other evening that there are roughly 70 class days each semester. I've been teaching at Butler for 16 and a half years, including this semester, which means I have taught 33 semesters at Butler, which equals 2,310 days. Now, I admit I don't remember every single one of those teaching days. Apologies to all my students. But I do remember, and I will never forget, the day I met Javon. Out of my 2,310 days of teaching at Butler, this happened on day number. So, my first day at Butler as a 28-year-old, this student knocks on my studio door in the basement of Lilly Hall, points to my nameplate, and says, "I'm looking for this guy." After a really brief introduction to each other, Javon told me of his piano performance studies background and major, but also that he played timpani in the Butler Symphony Orchestra. Within 2 minutes of meeting him, Javon offered this completely unsolicited statement. "You know, if I could do anything in the world, I'd want to play timpani in the Major Symphony Orchestra." Just like that. Matter of fact, just like Javon. Immediately, he then asked, "Can I do that?" And I could tell he wanted an answer. This wasn't a hypothetical question. I didn't know him at all, so I decided to give him the truth. I said, "Well, I've never seen you play. I don't know if you even can play. And these jobs are extremely hard to win. But yes, if you practice a lot, you know you can make money playing drums. You can make a good living playing in an orchestra." I believe Javon's next words were, "Cool, thanks. You know, I'm going to sign up for lessons with you." And that was it. He began taking weekly lessons with me and excelled quickly over the next 3 years, earning acceptance to one of the top graduate music schools in the country and within 5 months of that, winning his first job as principal timpanist in the Winnipeg Symphony. It is a remarkable feeling when your students become an integral, important part of your life, when they become your friends and part of your family. To say that I'm proud of Javon would be an understatement. To say he's a dear friend of mine would be an understatement. To say he exudes the Butler way of humility, passion, unity, servanthood, and thankfulness would be an understatement. My wife, Jody, was really worried about what I was going to say today. And she told me that I could only use the word awesome one time. I tend to like that word a lot. So I'm saving it for now. With that, please welcome the awesome Javon Gilliam.
On the approval of the Butler University Board of Trustees and by the authority vested in me, I confer upon you, Javon Gilliam, the degree of Doctor of Music, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto. I invite the audience to join me in expressing our congratulations and best wishes to our newest honorary degree recipient.
Thank you all so much. Esteemed faculty, staff, and guests, good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank President Danko and the Board of Trustees for this incredible honor. To Professor Craybill, thank you for the wonderful introduction. And to the Trustees Honorary Degree Committee and its representative, LJ, thank you so very much for inviting me here. I'm incredibly honored. I'd also like to congratulate Mrs. Kessler on her well-deserved honorary degree. But today, the biggest congratulations goes to you, my fellow Bulldogs. It is a milestone achievement for you to be here today. I know your family and friends are just as happy for you as I am, because this is the first step in a journey that only gets better from here. And where is here? Here is Ross and Resco and Hinkle. Here is Holcomb and Lily and Irwin. Here is where I got my first job. Here is where I had my first crush on a girl who was way out of my league. Here is where I met the person who would put me on the course towards making a living doing what I love, even before I had any idea that I loved it in the first place. Here is Butler. Butler didn't make me who I am today. Butler took who I already was and, by giving me a solid education, made a better, society-ready version of Javon that juxtaposed my inner-city upbringing with my not-so-inner-city talent. Butler is where I built up what a former mentor of mine called a ready, fire, aim approach to life. I'll explain what I mean momentarily. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about how a lower-class, awkward-dressing kid raised in a single-income household ended up working in our nation's capital, playing in our nation's orchestra, and has Butler and Ready, Fire, Aim to thank for that. Like John mentioned, I grew up in Gary, Indiana, 2 hours north, straight up I-65. Gary was, and still is, a pretty tough and segregated place. Not a whole lot to do, but plenty of things that you probably shouldn't do are fairly easy to access. When I was in high school, Gary was named murder capital of the US. My dad was Mr. No-Nonsense and made sure I had no part of that. After he got hit by a semi-truck when I was 3, and it became clear that he wouldn't be able to go back to his job at the steel mill, I became his full-time job. So, my mom made the money, and my dad took care of me, their only child. He was Mr. PTA, Mr. Beatty basketball coach, Mr. Chauffeur. He was everywhere, all the time. And he was also a father figure for many of my male friends who grew up in households where only the mother was present. My dad was tough, uncompromising, very street savvy, and had a BS meter second to none. He constantly and consistently pushed me to the limit, never let the little things slide, and always called me out on the carpet. He knew that in order for me to make it out and be successful, I'd have to be better than the person next to me, smarter than the guy in front of me, and stronger than the dude behind me. Dad got me into music at a young age, using it and sports to keep me off the streets and away from the drugs and gangs. Being in a single-income household, sometimes things would get a little tight, but my mom and dad never complained. Oftentimes, they would go without to make sure that I never did, like the time they bought me an upright piano. My dad made sure that I practiced every day, 7 days a week, without fail. And after a while, I got pretty good at it. So I began to help out financially, playing for weddings, receptions, and the like. This was not what a 15-year-old in my neighborhood did for fun. Quite often, I was made fun of for being the kid that wore full-length, monochromatic sweatsuits. I didn't own a pair of jeans until I was a high school senior, and called the kid that played that other music. All I wanted to do was fit in and have fun, so I did what any other kid would do to try to look cool in the eyes of my peers. I acted out. Like that time in 8th grade when I threw my teacher's shoes out of the window into the snow. Or when my mischievousness got me banned from using the citywide school buses for the last 2 years of high school. Or that time where I convinced my entire 10th grade class to take their social studies books to science class. As you can see, I was a mischievous kid. And at that age, you don't really think about the consequences of your actions. You just do whatever comes naturally. That was me. That's always been me, doing whatever comes naturally. Ready, fire, aim. Now that I'm older, experience has taught me that sometimes Shakespeare was right, and discretion is definitely the better part of valor. But ready, fire, aim is still a huge part of my DNA, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Sometimes the quickest way to find out if something will work is to jump right in and do it. You can always make adjustments along the way if necessary. That's how author Steve Pavlina describes the ready, fire, aim approach. Surprisingly, it can be just as, if not more effective than the more commonly known ready, aim, fire approach. The reason is that after you've fired once, you have some actual data with which to adjust your aim. Too many people get bogged down in planning and thinking and never get to the point of action. How many potentially great ideas or opportunities have you passed up because you got stuck in the state of analysis paralysis? That is, ready, aim, 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 fire. Not me, no analysis paralysis here. Let's fast forward to Butler. My not-so-inner-city talent earned me a full scholarship in piano performance to several schools all across the country. I decided on Butler and settled in for the ride. But soon after, I quickly started to feel that piano wasn't the right fit for me. In true Javon form, I switched majors, twice, in the span of a few months. Did I know what I was getting myself into? Did I know what type of employment opportunities there were in percussion or arts administration? I had no idea whatsoever. Did I know that winning a timpani job in a professional orchestra is, by the numbers, harder than becoming a quarterback for an NFL team? Nah. All I knew is that piano as a major didn't feel right. But somehow, this new, skinny percussion instructor did. John has always looked like he's 21 years old, fresh out of college. So, just like he said, when I walked into the percussion studio on his first day on the job, pointed to the John Crabeel nameplate and said, "I'm looking for this guy," I could have sworn he was another student. Just like he mentioned, the aha moment was him telling me that I can make money playing drums. Somehow, that was enough for me. I don't know if it was his calm, reassuring personality or if it was the way he said it, but at that moment, I made the decision to put 100% trust in him. Shortly after this conversation, I changed majors. And there it was, the biggest decision of my life to date, and I made it after a 15-minute conversation, meeting this dude for the very first time. And at the center of that life-changing moment was Ready, Fire, Aim. Had I thought about the fact that I was putting my future in the hands of a 20-year-old lookalike, things may have turned out differently. That's the beauty of Ready, Fire, Aim. It takes you places you would otherwise have never gone if you thought too long or too hard about it. That being said, there is a flip side to Ready, Fire, Aim. The planning and foundation building you initially skip have to be made up as you go. This is otherwise known as making a lot of mistakes. And that's okay, because I'm a firm believer that making a mistake and learning from it is much better than having never made the mistake at all. Life is about the journey, not the destination. My journey almost took me to the Army. Towards the end of my senior year, an opportunity came up for me to join Pershing's Own, the United States Army Concert Band. I passed all of the musical requirements, and the only thing left was to pass the physical exam. A permanent job with great benefits and an opportunity to live in D.C. and play for our president? Surely this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I had to take. The morning of the physical, a knock comes at the door. It's time for me to go. The house where I was staying had a big, thick door, so the Army Band representatives that came to pick me up couldn't see that I was standing on the other side with my hand on the knob. But for some reason, I just couldn't turn it. They stayed and knocked for a few minutes and then left. And that was that. Decision made. Army, no. I can't tell you why I didn't open that door. All I know is that hearing that knock triggered a feeling that this wasn't the right move for me. I didn't think too hard about it. I trusted my gut and kept the door closed. Was that decision a mistake? Maybe. Financial stability and job security, those are luxuries in the music business. Not to mention that these positions rarely come up, so it's unheard of that one would pass up on a golden opportunity like this, especially when you're in the final stages of the process. But that's not me. That's not Ready, Fire, Aim. It didn't feel 100% right, so I didn't do it, and I moved on. You have to trust yourself with Ready, Fire, Aim. My dad's constant pushing of me to be my best gave me that confidence early on. Self-trust is crucial. It allows you to make a decision and not second-guess it later, or feel like you missed out on something had you chosen another option. One would think that not taking the Army Band job would have eliminated any possibility to live and work in Washington, D.C. True to form, Ready, Fire, Aim can have an uncanny way of helping you get exactly where you need to be, even if the odds aren't exactly in your favor. To give you a sense of those odds, Budapest, Hungary, which is about the size of Philadelphia, has 9 full-time orchestras within its city limits. At 79 million residents, Germany has over 130. The United States, with a population almost quadruple to that of Germany, has only 17 52-week orchestras. Each of these 17 has only one full-time timpanist. For my current job, there were 149 applicants. I was going up against people who were very well respected in my field and had far more experience than me. Some even had the advantage of being pre-advanced to later portions of the audition process. I was not. I had to start from the beginning, the cattle call. To prepare, I went to the max. I framed a previous rejection letter from another orchestra and placed it right above my music stand in my practice space for motivation. I also mapped out a detailed 8-week game plan and practice regimen, of which included 104 hours of drive time in a rental van to and from Washington. Just like my dad taught me, I prepared so that my average would be better than everyone else's best. Everything came together, and on August 5th, 2009, I was offered the position of principal timpanist of the National Symphony, the first African American to hold a title chair in this orchestra. Later that day, I was also asked to chair the percussion program at the University of Maryland. Ready, Fire, Aim brought everything full circle. And now I have the opportunity to grow a percussion program just like John has here at Butler. My dad died in 2006, but if he were here, I know he'd be proud. Winning the National Symphony job has allowed me to expand my horizons in a way that I never thought possible growing up. I've been to places that I didn't even know existed, and married a beautiful and talented Indianapolis native who was also way out of my league. Together, we are living the quintessential DC life, exactly like what you see on TV's Scandal. Just kidding, but it is full of fun, amazing opportunities, meeting interesting people, creating lifelong memories, and making the most of every day. So, graduates, as I leave you today, I'd like to offer one piece of advice. It's the first thing that I tell any prospective student who wants to come study with me at Maryland. There is nothing more important than being happy, living life to the fullest, and doing what you love. And on that journey, as you find your niche, you'll face moments where you'll need to take long, careful aim before you fire. But there will come a time where you'll have a chance to make a move or seize an opportunity before all of the cards align or before you can complete all your planning. And it may very well turn out to be exactly what you wanted. Or in my case, exactly what you didn't even know you wanted. Butler has equipped you with the tools needed to survive and thrive in this thing called life. You're ready. Trust yourself and know that your life and the experiences you've had and all their uniqueness have placed you right where you need to be at this very moment. Jump in with both feet and enjoy the ride. Thanks for listening. Blessings and peace to you and yours this holiday season. And ready, fire, aim.
Well, I'll use the word awesome. Thanks, Javon. That was awesome. At this time, I recognize Dr. Catherine Morris, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs.
Good afternoon. It is my honor to take part in the 2014 Winter Commencement Celebration for Butler University. Graduates, it's my pleasure to recognize representatives of the faculty of Butler University and to honor their role in your education here. During your time at Butler, you have grown and developed intellectual and practical skills that will serve you well in the future. Your development as students is a direct consequence of the meaningful interactions you have had with faculty members both inside and outside of the classroom. Simply put, you would not be here today if it were not for the dedicated faculty members on our campus. Graduates, I ask that you take a moment to think about the transformative influence these faculty have had on your lives. Not only have they affected your daily interactions and your educational progress over the time that you have been at Butler, but their influence will continue as you travel your own life paths. These people have put their hearts and souls into your education. Faculty, will you please rise? I ask that you, as graduates, honor the faculty with a round of applause. Thank you. Graduates, the diplomas that you're about to receive signify your academic accomplishments under the tutelage of this outstanding faculty, grounded in the liberal arts and complemented with training in your discipline or profession of choice. Congratulations on your academic work. But being a graduate of Butler is more than your academic success. During your time at Butler, you have not only developed as students, but also as people who contribute to the world around you. We have calculated that members of your graduating class have collectively performed over 100,000 hours of community service during your time at Butler. In the years that you have been here, you have made a positive impact on the communities in which you have served, and we know you will continue to make the world a better place. Graduates, the faculty, staff, and administration are proud of you. Indeed, commencement is one of our proudest days on campus. As you begin a new phase in your life, please know that we trust you will be excellent ambassadors for your alma mater, whether you find yourself in Indianapolis, somewhere else in the United States, or somewhere around the world. And we look forward to hearing from you about the ways in which you have used your Butler education in your professional, personal, and service-oriented lives. We will now present the graduate and undergraduate degrees. Will all members of the graduating class please stand? President Danko, the candidates standing before you have completed all the requirements for their respective degrees. They have been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees, and I now present them for the conferral of their degrees.
On the recommendation of the faculty, the president, and provost, with the approval of the Board of Trustees, by the authority vested in me, I confer upon you the degrees recommended with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
In keeping with academic tradition, those of you who are receiving bachelor degrees may now move your tassels symbolizing your degrees from the right side to the left side of your cap. For those of you receiving master's or doctoral degrees, the Associate Provost will hood you on stage. Please be seated. Dr. Jay Howard, Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, will now present the candidates for Master of Fine Arts, Master of Arts, Bachelor of Arts, and Bachelor of Science.
Thank you, Dr. Morris. It is now my pleasure to introduce the candidates from the College of Liberal Arts and Science. The candidate receiving the degree Master of Fine Arts, Beth Bates. The candidates receiving the degree Master of Arts, Ashley Krutze. Christiana Ludwig. Receiving the degree Bachelor of Arts, Brandon Fricke, cum laude. Lindsay Higginbotham. Ryan Cameruden. Jesse Liu. Randy Loper. Jennifer Mills. Nathan Moss. Kevin Perk. Mark Resio. Samira Shah Cooper. Clifford Stockton III, Jack Volz. Receiving the degree Bachelor of Science, Gunnar Batcher Johnson. Christian Abel. Marika Edwards, cum laude. Tomoyuki Fetters. Andrew Holt, cum laude. Melissa Jones, summa cum laude. Sean Larson. Derek O'Connor. Lauren Syke. Thank you, Dr. Morris.
Thank you, Dr. Howard. Presenting the candidates for Master of Science and Bachelor of Science in the College of Education will be Dr. Ina Shelley, Dean of the College.
Thank you, Dr. Morris. On behalf of the College of Education, it is my pleasure to introduce the candidates. We will begin with the Masters of Science degree. Joshua Bowles. Jennifer Conley. Maria Esterline. Jason Flood. Andrew Hassinger. Nico Hendricks Gilbert. Sean Henselite. Kyle Herkamp. Bertha Hughes. Sean Schlepp. Paige Vinson. Christopher Walker. Dina Williams. And now the degree Bachelor of Science. Jacqueline Goodwin. Margaret Hurt. Kelly Kiefer. Sydney Willoughby. Thank you, Dr. Morris.
Thank you, Dr. Shelley. Presenting the candidates for Master of Business Administration, Bachelor of Science, and Bachelor of Science in Economics in the College of Business will be Dr. Stephen Standiford, Dean of the College.
Thank you, Dr. Morris. On behalf of the College of Business, it is my pleasure to introduce the candidates. For the Masters of Business Administration, Christopher Ardell. Bethany Clark. Colin Darcy. Christopher Dixon. William Douglas. Victoria Downs. Jacob Kelly. Daniel Kurdziel. Adam Parsons. Michael Schweiss. Scott Vanderkoy. Ryan Wolf. Caleb Wright. Robert Zelt-Wagner. For the degree Bachelor of Science, Whitney Brester. Kylie Brockett. David Berkey. Erica Carlson. Ross Clark. Carly Foley. Derek Hazelwood. Luke Hyde. Stephanie Job. Ramez Khan. Benjamin Kraut. Anthony Ledford. Andrew Lauschinsky. Brett Shannon. Zachary Steinberger. Don Stewart, Jr. Jonathan Walter. For the degree Bachelor of Science in Economics, Joseph Ciancio. Carl Duncan. Thank you, Dr. Morris.
Thank you, Dr. Standiford. Dr. Mary Graham, Dean of the College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, will now present the candidate who has completed the requirement for Doctor of Pharmacy.
Thank you, Dr. Morris. On behalf of the College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, it's my privilege to introduce the candidates. For Doctor of Pharmacy, Beverly Bortz. Evan Keller. Sarah Luix. Tiffany McDonald. Thank you, Dr. Morris.
Thank you, Dr. Graham. Dr. Ronald Caltabiano, Dean of the Jordan College of the Arts, will present the candidates for Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science in that college.
Thank you, Dr. Morris. On behalf of Jordan College of the Arts, I am pleased to introduce the candidates. For the Bachelor of Arts degree, Erin Drennan. For the Bachelor of Science degree, Holly Bass, cum laude. Courtney Hardy, Jr. Rebecca Mackey, cum laude. David Schlank, cum laude. Thank you, Dr. Morris.
Thank you, Dr. Caltabiano. Dr. Gary Edgerton, Dean of the College of Communication, will present the candidates for Bachelor of Arts in that college.
Thank you, Dr. Morris. It is my honor to introduce the candidates from the College of Communication. Gregory Ambrose. Brittany Babbitt. Rebecca Bolton. Marcos Calderon. Daniel Gutierrez. Ryan. Murray Jacon Duffy. Taylor McCullum. Jonathan McLaren. Sierra Mercer. Amelia Musavi. Yanwali Prapai Silapa. Jennifer Shook, in Slater White. Thank you, Dr. Morris. I welcome Mr. Burks back to the podium to introduce our final musical performance and speaker.
What an enthusiastic audience. Tremendous. During the opening convocation of Welcome Week, we ask our faculty, staff, and students and parents to join in singing the Alma Mater as a symbol of their welcome to the university. As you are now leaving our hallowed halls, I call on you to sing the Alma Mater once more. Please join the Butler Chorale under the direction of Dr. John Perkins as we sing your Alma Mater. You will find the words in your program. Would you please stand for the singing of the Alma Mater?
In the gallery of memories, there are pictures bright and fair, and I find that dear old Butler is the brightest one that's there. Alma Mater, how we love thee, with the love that ne'er shall fade, and we feel we owe our debts to thee that never can be paid. In the gallery of memories, there are pictures bright and fair, and I find that dear old Butler is the brightest one that's there. Alma Mater, how we love thee, with the love that ne'er shall fade, and we feel we owe our debts to thee that never can be paid. Alma Mater, how we love thee, with the love that ne'er shall fade, and we feel we owe our debts to thee that never can be paid.
Many thanks to our talented musicians. I would also like to thank Mr. Charles Manning for his musical accompaniment, as well as Mrs. Joyce Ellinger, who has done a tremendous job of signing the ceremony. Can we have a round of applause for them? And finally, I would like to invite Nick Musial, Vice President of the Alumni Association Board of Directors, to the podium to welcome you, the newest members of Butler University's Alumni Association.
Thank you, Chairman Burks. Excuse me. Good afternoon. Today we celebrate all the accomplishments of your past years at Butler and look forward to your continued relationship with your alma mater. Please keep us up to date on the milestones of your life from this point forward. We would love to see your smiling faces in Butler Magazine when you take a gap year or continue in a graduate program in a given field, when you get that important promotion or become a parent of a future Bulldog. In the coming weeks, you will begin to receive communications from the Alumni Association. I encourage you to take advantage of the opportunities for you to stay connected with Butler, whether it is here in Indianapolis, in one of our many chapter cities around the United States, or as you return to your home country. Remember, Butler will always be here for you, and you will always be alumni of Butler. We welcome you with open arms to the Butler University Alumni Association. Congratulations.
With sincere congratulations and best wishes to the graduating class, I declare the 2014 Butler University winter commencement completed. Please remain seated until all faculty and students have recessed.